Imagine you have everything: a private jet, a fleet of supercars, and more cash than you could spend in 10 lifetimes. But there's a catch. You can never leave home without 6 armed men. You can't trust anyone. And every siren you hear might be the raid you feared since you were 7. Being the son of a cartel boss isn't a life, it's a sentence. You are the most valuable target in the country. Every luxury was bought at a price you'll eventually have to pay. In this world, blood is the only currency. Today, we step inside the high-stakes world of the Narco-Heir. This is the reality of the Gilded Cage. You're 7 years old when you first realize your father isn't like other dads. While your classmates draw pictures of their parents at office desks or construction sites, you sketch armed men standing outside your bedroom window. Every window, every door, 24 hours a day. Your childhood home isn't just a house. It's a fortress disguised as a mansion. 12-foot walls topped with cameras and motion sensors surround 3 acres of manicured gardens you're barely allowed to explore. The swimming pool glitters like a jewel, but you've never invited a friend to swim in it. You don't have friends, not real ones. The other children at your private school whisper when you walk past, and their parents pull them away during pickup. Your last name carries weight in this city, the kind of weight that makes people nervous. Your father leaves before sunrise most days and returns after you're asleep. When you do see him, he's different from the man in the family photos. Those pictures show him laughing, relaxed, his arm around your mother. The man who occasionally sits across from you at dinner is quiet and calculating, his eyes constantly scanning the room even in his own home. He asks about your grades but doesn't really listen to the answers. His mind is always somewhere else, running calculations you're too young to understand. But the money. God, the money is everywhere. Your shoes cost more than most families spend on rent. Your birthday parties feature performers flown in from other countries, though only a handful of carefully vetted children ever attend. You have 3 different gaming systems, a closet full of designer clothes, and a tutor who comes to the house because your parents don't trust the school to keep you safe for a full day. Other kids dream about the things you're bored of. Your mother tries to create normalcy in the chaos. She reads to you every night, picks out your clothes in the morning, and insists on family dinners when your father is home. She never raises her voice, never shows fear, but you've caught her crying in the bathroom when she thinks you're asleep. She hugs you tighter than other mothers hug their children, like she's afraid you might disappear. The staff treats you like fragile crystal. The maids, the cook, the gardeners, even the armed guards who rotate shifts around the property. They're polite, almost reverent, but there's something else in their eyes. Pity, maybe, or fear that being too close to you might be dangerous for them too. You learn early that everyone in your orbit is there because your father allows it. And what your father allows, he can also take away. School is its own kind of prison. A driver takes you in an armored SUV, never the same route twice. 2 men in suits wait in the parking lot during your classes. The principal knows better than to ask questions about your absences or the special accommodations your family requires. You're excused from field trips. You can't participate in after-school activities. During recess, you notice teachers watching you more closely than the other students, like they're waiting for something terrible to happen. Some children are cruel in the way only children can be. They don't understand the full picture, but they know enough to mock you. They make up stories about what your father does, each tale more outlandish than the last. The smart ones, the ones whose parents have explained how power works in this city, they keep their distance, not out of respect, out of survival instinct inherited from adults who know better than to cross certain lines. You start to notice patterns. The way your father's associates visit the house at odd hours, speaking in low voices in rooms you're not allowed to enter. How your mother suddenly decides you need to visit your grandmother in another state right before something big happens in the news. The tension that hangs in the air like humidity before a storm, making everyone move faster, speak quieter, lock more doors. At 8, you're in the car when bullets shatter the rear window. Your bodyguard throws himself over you, his weight crushing the air from your lungs as the driver accelerates through traffic. You don't scream. Some instinct tells you screaming is pointless. The attack lasts maybe 30 seconds, but time stretches like taffy. When you finally reach the safe house, your mother is already there, her face white as paper. She holds you for an hour without speaking. Your father arrives later, makes a phone call, and 3 days later, you hear about bodies found in the river. No one explicitly connects these events, but you're starting to understand how cause and effect work in your world. Fourth grade is when you overhear the word for the first time. Cartel. You're supposed to be asleep, but voices carry through the ventilation system in your house. Your father's business associate uses it casually, like he's discussing a restaurant chain or a sports team. The word itself means nothing to you yet, so you look it up on the computer during your supervised internet time. The search results make your stomach drop. Drug trafficking, violence, murder, corruption. You clear the browser history like you've been taught and don't mention it to anyone. But now you can't unsee it. The pieces start fitting together with sickening clarity. The cash you once saw stacked in your father's office. More money than you'd ever imagined existed in one place. The hushed phone conversations about shipments and territories. The way certain police officers visit the house and leave with envelopes. Your uncle's funeral 2 years ago, the one your mother said was a heart attack. But you remember the closed casket and the way your father's jaw clenched throughout the service. You're 10 when you first meet your father's real business partner, though he's introduced as a family friend. He brings you an expensive watch and ruffles your hair like a friendly uncle. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Later, you see him on the news. He's being arrested for ordering the execution of a rival trafficker's entire family. The watch stays in your drawer, untouched. You can't bring yourself to wear it or throw it away. Your world becomes smaller and more luxurious simultaneously. A new PlayStation appears in your room after a particularly violent month in the city. Your mother takes you shopping for clothes you don't need after your father misses your birthday. Guilt gifts, though no one calls them that. You're being insulated from reality with material comfort, wrapped in designer labels and cutting-edge electronics while bodies pile up in connection to your family name. The teenage years approach like a storm you can see forming on the horizon. You're old enough now to understand what's coming, but too young to do anything about it. Hashtag your life as a cartel heir. Part 2. 13 arrives with your first real choice. Your father sits you down in his office, the one with bulletproof windows, and a panic room hidden behind the bookshelf. He pours himself whiskey, offers you nothing, and tells you it's time to learn the business. Not the sanitized version, the actual machinery of how everything works. You can say no, theoretically, but saying no means what exactly? Pretending you don't already know? Going to college and becoming an accountant while your family's empire continues without you? Your father watches your face, reading the calculations happening behind your eyes. He's been preparing you for this moment your entire life, even when you didn't realize it. The private schools weren't about education. They were about making connections with other cartel children, building networks that will matter when territories need negotiating. The languages you learned weren't for travel. They were for communicating with suppliers and distributors across borders. Even your childhood isolation served a purpose. You never learned to trust outsiders because outsiders are threats. Your first lesson happens in a warehouse on the edge of the city. Your father's lieutenant walks you through a shipment inspection. Cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, all packaged with corporate efficiency. He explains quality control, distribution channels, payment collection. He talks about murder the way other people discuss quarterly earnings, eliminating competition, maintaining territorial integrity, ensuring compliance. The euphemisms are thin as tissue paper. You watch workers move product worth millions, and you understand that any one of them would kill you without hesitation if ordered. Loyalty in this world isn't personal. It's purchased and maintained through fear. 14 brings your first direct involvement. Nothing violent yet. You're just observing a meeting between your father and distributors from the north. You sit silently in the corner while grown men discuss cocaine prices and shipping routes. One distributor tries negotiating a better rate. Your father listens patiently, then signals to his lieutenant. The negotiation ends when the man's teenage son is brought into the room, zip-tied and terrified. The distributor agrees to the original terms immediately. The son is released unharmed. You learn the lesson. Leverage is everything. Family is both your greatest strength and your ultimate vulnerability. The violence escalates around you like rising floodwater. A rival cartel pushes into your father's territory. 3 of your father's men die in an ambush. Your father retaliates by killing 12 of theirs. The mathematics of violence never balance. Each death spawns 3 more. You're 15 when you see your first corpse up close. Not on television. Not in a casket. A man who stole from your father, left in an alley as a message. Your father makes you look. Really look. This is what betrayal costs, he says. This is what keeps everyone else loyal. School becomes surreal. You sit through algebra and history classes while text messages on your encrypted phone discuss shipment schedules and elimination targets. Your classmates worry about college applications. You worry about federal investigations and territory wars. You have a girlfriend briefly, a judge's daughter who doesn't know who your family really is. The relationship ends when your father finds out. Too risky, he explains. She could become leverage against you. Everyone in your life must be vetted, controlled, or eliminated as a variable. 16 is when you first hold a gun with intent. Your father takes you to a private range and teaches you to shoot properly. Not for sport, for survival. He tells you about the attempts on his life, the close calls, the moments when being armed made the difference. You practice until your hands stop shaking. You practice until hitting center mass becomes automatic. You practice until the weight of the weapon feels normal in your palm. Your father watches with something approaching pride. You're becoming what he needs you to be. The adult choice arrives at 18 like a verdict. Take over eventually or walk away. Your father presents it as freedom, but you're old enough now to recognize the trap. Walking away means what? Witness protection? A new identity? Even if you could disappear, they know your face. Rival cartels would hunt you as revenge against your father. Federal agents would pressure you to testify. There's no neutral ground. You're either inside the machine or you're a target of it. Your father knows this. The choice he's offering is really just one option with the illusion of alternatives. You choose to stay, not out of loyalty, not out of greed, out of the simple mathematics of survival. Inside, you have protection, resources, power. Outside, you have nothing except the weight of your family name and everyone who wants to use it against you. Your father nods when you tell him. He expected this answer. Maybe he even engineered it, shaping your entire life to make this the only logical conclusion. Your 20s are a masterclass in controlled violence. You learn to negotiate with suppliers, manage distribution networks, handle problems that arise. Problems is the euphemism everyone uses. Problems means people, people who steal, people who talk, people who resist. You authorize your first elimination at 21, a distributor skimming profits. You make the call, and 12 hours later, he's gone. You don't pull the trigger yourself. You don't need to. That's what power actually means. The ability to make people disappear with a phone call. The federal investigation starts when you're 23. DEA, FBI, Mexican authorities. A joint task force with unlimited resources and political pressure to produce results. They freeze assets, flip informants, build their case brick by brick. Your father tells you not to worry. He's survived investigations before. But this one feels different, more coordinated, more patient. They're not looking for quick arrests. They're building a case that will dismantle everything. Your father's arrest happens at dawn. 50 agents, helicopters, armored vehicles. They take him in handcuffs on live television. The empire doesn't collapse immediately. You step into his role because someone has to. But the mathematics have changed. The investigation exposed too much. Allies distance themselves. Rivals sense weakness and push harder into contested territories. You're 25 and running an organization that's bleeding from 1,000 cuts. Prison or death. Those are the actual options now. The fantasy of walking away died years ago. You're too deep, too documented, too wanted. Your father gets life without parole. You attend the sentencing and watch him led away in chains. He doesn't look at you. Maybe there's nothing left to say. You've become exactly what he built you to be, and now you're trapped in the same cage that's closing around him. The final reality is that you never really had a choice. From the moment you were born into this family, the trajectory was set. The wealth, the isolation, the violence. All of it was preparation for an inevitable conclusion. You're 26 now, still free but knowing it's temporary. The investigation is circling closer. Every phone call could be monitored. Every associate could be an informant. You sleep with a gun under your pillow and wake up wondering if this is the day they finally come. Some nights you think about that alternate life, the one where you were born to different parents in a different city, where your biggest concerns were ordinary, where you could trust people without calculating their potential for betrayal. But that person never existed. You were always this. The only variable was how long it would take you to fully understand what that meant. The Gilded Cage was never about the gold. It was about the bars you couldn't see until they'd already locked into place. Every luxury was a link in the chain. Every protection was another wall closing in. Your father didn't trap you deliberately. He was trapped too, and he simply passed down the only inheritance that mattered. Not money, not power, but the absolute certainty that there's no way out. You stand now at the intersection of two identical paths. Prison will come from the law, or from rivals who see opportunity in your vulnerability. Death will come from betrayal, or ambition, or simple miscalculation. The timing varies. The destination doesn't. You're living on borrowed time in a world where the debt always comes due. The saddest part isn't the violence, or the fear, or even the inevitable ending. It's that somewhere along the way, you stopped imagining alternatives. The cage became so familiar, you forgot what freedom even looks like. You optimized for survival within the system instead of questioning whether the system itself was survivable. And now, looking back at that 7-year-old drawing armed guards outside his window, you realize he was sketching his own future prison. He just didn't know the guards were there to keep him in, not keep the world out.